Welcome to Dare, the show for startup leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs who dare to shape the future. Dare is brought to you by the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, OEN, and Darwaft, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. The Dare podcast is excited to welcome Corey Scholibo to the show. He's the CEO of Dayo, which is an exciting AI startup that's really focused around free rewards, creating a marketplace, and all of that is in service of helping users to lower their social media. So, a really interesting approach to things. I'd love to hear your story, Corey.
Thanks for having me on the show, Ned. I appreciate it. Yeah, Dayo is an app that's going to pay people to use less social media. That's straightforward. We're going to rewire the dopamine response of your brain that these social media companies have hijacked for likes and comments and shares, and literally use it to one of its most primal ends, giving you rewards. In this case, in the form of money that can be used in a marketplace of like-minded partners for goods and services. So the way the app works is we're going to give you $5 a day if you can use the social media for no less than 30 minutes or no more than 30 minutes a day, you will keep that money in your wallet. If after 30 minutes, which I'll explain in a minute, you will start to see that money tick down. So $5, 4.99, 4.98, 4.97, and that is the mechanism that will trigger your reptile brain to say, "Hey, I'm losing money on these apps. Maybe I want to log off." And then there's a lot of other AI enabled and un-AI enabled things that'll happen in the app during it which will remind you. So you'll get reminder screens that pop up and take over your phone. You'll be constantly reminded how close you are to your goal of achieving what you want. And as a result, in the end, we're seeing lower social media use per person. And that is truly our mission.
Wow, that's really interesting. So, how did you come on this idea? How did you create this?
Yeah, so I'm a serial social entrepreneur, and what I think that means is that I only do businesses that have these missions. I think that companies, particularly consumer products companies, can have a role in cultural change. I see governments, nonprofits, but also companies. If you're going to start a femcare company, for instance, you could go non-toxic. You could make it better for her, or you could make something really extractive and horrible and make money that way. There are two different ways to make
Yeah.
money. So my first company that I started was called Repurpose. We're the leading brand of compostable tableware. You can buy us at any store around you, from Costco to Fred Meyer to Albertsons, what have you. So we were working on that for a long time, and that goal was to get rid of plastic, right? Our mission was to get rid of plastic and styrofoam from the environment. We were going to do well by doing good, but really there were no alternatives to plastic and styrofoam in the retail shelf, so we created the category. And I mean that in the coolest way that sounds and in the how painful, long, and expensive way that sounds. So I'm not bragging about it, but we did create the category.
Yeah.
And then I also started a company called Weil, which was a company for midlife women. And it was to address the things that go on in a woman's body around menopause and perimenopause. So again, an untapped category that didn't exist. We created the category at Whole Foods. We helped create it at CVS, at Sprouts, etc. Serena Williams was my biggest investor. I sold that company in April. So this to me is a further extension. And what I like to say is I'm always looking for the thing behind the thing. So first I was in the LGBT rights movement when I was an editor at a magazine called The Advocate. And then I thought, well, we're not going to really have rights if we don't have a planet. Like rights are going to matter a little less than a planet. So to me, the green movement became the thing behind the thing. I worked on that for a while, and then I sort of realized we would need midlife women to not, drop out of the workforce and the advocacy groups and so on. And like, okay, we need
Yeah.
them. So that's kind of the thing behind the thing. But now I've ultimately decided the thing behind all the things is social media. Social media is truly the root issue that we are facing across democracy. I mean, I couldn't possibly have better examples than what's going on right now with, an unelected social media billionaire running
Yeah.
rampant through our government. But I didn't expect it to go that extreme, even without that. We already knew suicidality in young girls was reaching 25%. We know that the loneliness epidemic is so intense, the Surgeon General under the Biden administration came out and declared it an epidemic and said that
Mhm.
social media was the root cause and called for warning labels on social media. We already know statewide governments are banning social media apps under the ages of certain age groups, 18, 16, what have you, banning phones in schools. We know it's an epidemic problem. The Anxious Generation is one of the best-selling books of the last several years because we know these technologies are doing something to our brain. And we also know from surveying that people are A, addicted, they'll admit it, 67% in our survey, 57% in national surveys, and B, they want to use less and they don't know how. And we've
Yeah.
created, similar to food or alcohol or nicotine or what have you, we've said, well, it's a willpower issue. It's a consumer concern. We just created this benign technology and it is up to you to use it responsibly. And it's bullshit. It's incredibly addictive. It's designed to be addictive. They workshop it to a neuropathic level to make it addictive. And so our goal is like, well, let's just use what they've already built, that they've already programmed. Let's punch a hole in it and drain the energy out of it back to you. Let's get you paid back. They're selling every single one of those impressions that you look at. Every time you look at Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, they're selling that impression and you get nothing. And in fact, that you get less than nothing because it's actually making you anxious, lonely, depressed, suicidal, what have you. So let's get you paid back. Let's get the
Yeah.
money back to you.
That's a fascinating model, and I love that you mentioned the anxious generation. I've actually taught that in a class this last year, and I was stunned by how angry some of my students were when they were able to read the book and understand how they had been manipulated over the course of their lives into giving up so much of themselves in order to benefit, unelected billionaires.
Yeah, as it
Yeah,
turns out. I mean, look, here's the thing, and I'll go back to 30 minutes a day, right? So the American Psychological Association has posited that 30 minutes a day of social media use is net neutral to net positive. So technically, if you're a 16-year-old, it's pretty unrealistic to assume that you're not going to need to be on social media. Your friends are there. It would almost be like not going to the cafeteria. And frankly, even for people our age, I'm supposed to go on and see your kid. You're supposed to see my dog. I'm supposed to be like, "Oh, I'm connected to Ned today. I feel like I know what he's up to," and get off,
yeah,
right? But we don't. We stay, we doom scroll, and that's where all the problems start. So we've decided to use that as a benchmark of an attitude we're taking, which is, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't think using no social media is very realistic for anyone. Certainly, it's great and you should do it. 100% believe you should do it. Are you going to do it? Probably not. So to me, then we need to treat it more like sex or eating or maybe even moderate drug use, alcohol use. You can have a few drinks a week. It's okay. You should have some sex probably. It's healthy to have some sex. It's unhealthy to have too much sex. It's healthy to eat the right amount. It's unhealthy to eat the wrong amount. So there is probably a healthy amount of social media use. And so we want to engage around a healthy use while not demonizing people who want to use it some, but at the same time rewarding people who want to use it less.
got it. Right, right. So I'm really curious about your business model. Like you're paying people to not use social media, but where does that payment come from?
So the money is a discount. It'll come out
Okay,
and it will have it's an internal system to start. There's a couple of exciting things. So one, the $5 a day will be in a bank account in your Dayo wallet. And so those are Dayo dollars used against purchases. So how it
got it.
works is, let's say Rumple Blankets, which is a partner, or let's say JBL, which is one we're going to have by the time this podcast launches. So let's say they want to sell you a speaker for $100, or it's normally $100. They're going to sell it to you, let's say, for 60 or $70, but you're going to have to earn the discount. So that's where the Dayo dollars come in. That money that you're discounting off the total is going to be the amount you earn. And the discounts are going to be deeper than you would be getting any other way. You can't just sign up for email or text or whatever. These are multiples of discounts deeper. And the goal is essentially to offer you somewhat of a wholesale pricing, but directly to the consumer, but having done it through, what's considered a win-win. The brand gets to tell you they care about your mental health. They get to have
Right.
they get to bring in a new customer base that's potentially and arguably rejecting their current digital advertising strategy. We should mention that most people under $10 million in sales are abandoning Meta left and right, even some I know into 20, 30 millions because the CAC is unsustainable. The customer base is impossible to get. I mean, Meta is not delivering for most people. It is a $500 billion advertising bubble. The average click through rate used to, or the average attribution touch point used to be what, 3 points? Now it's 12. That
Right.
means you need 4 times the exposure to get the same sale. Also, 8% of consumers are driving 85% of all clicks. That means most of your ads are going to a very aggressive group of active clickers that aren't really delivering you a new customer. So the brand then
Yeah.
gets this customer, they gets a customer that's resistant to their digital advertising, and it gets to say, hey, we may be advertising on Meta and so on, and we don't have to talk about that, but we believe in your mental health and we believe in rewarding you for using it responsibly. So you'll check out, we'll get a tiny cut at Deo. The brand will get, you'll get your massive cut. The brand will get its new customer base. And in our opinion, everybody wins.
Got it. Got it. So the whole concept of helping people to improve behavior that they already want to improve is really
Mhm.
fascinating. And I'm curious what the user response has been. Are people excited about this proposal, or are people embracing this idea of becoming better by paying themselves for it?
Yeah, I have to say I always say I'm always trying to sell people broccoli, like, with Repurpose, my brand,
Yeah,
like, I love Repurpose, but, like, we're basically like, "You shouldn't use the plastic cup, you should use this bioplastic cup. Sure, it melts a little bit more, and sure, it's more expensive, and sure, you can't always compost it, and look, I believe in all of those things, and I think you should, but it's, like, extra." It's like or with Weil, it was like, "Okay, you should balance your hormones, and now let's talk about menopause for a long time and dig in." It's like, it's a fucking slog, it's, like, a lot to put in. This has just been like everybody's like, "This is genius. I can't wait to have it. I wanna download it." I've already in our beta test users I'm not being hyperbolic either because 'cause I'm a pretty pragmatic
yeah,
businessman. Even in well, I should say our alpha test users, they some of them just stopped using social media because they were getting the alert,
yeah,
right? And I'm like, "But your phone can alert you. Like, this isn't rocket science. This has been around for a while." But the reality is there's even a gap of people who even understand or have a product that helps them even just time manage their social media regardless of the rewards. But they only
right,
downloaded the app and started the process because of the rewards. And then when the money's there, well, like, well, I should buy some coffee. I might as well buy that thing I wanted. And we're not selling
right,
like we're not going to sell you cleaning supplies or toilet paper or anything. This is like things you would reward yourself with: a lofty clock, a La Crusade pot, something like that. So the response has been incredible. We've also had a really amazing partnerships. We're launching in Portland, and we're based in Portland, Oregon. I'm very bully on Portland as a city and a city where you have a work-life balance.
that's
And
great.
it's been amazing the partnerships here. Unlike many businesses I built out of Los Angeles, where I used to live, just the desire to you can go a lot further for a lot less. Let me put it that way. The desire to collaborate and help is huge because of Portland, but also people just want to stop some of this techno oligarchy. People wanna
Yeah,
put
they
a
really
stop
do.
to this insanity, so it's basically like asking people to sign on to a movement they're already bought into, and I'm just offering
Right.
them a tool at that inflection point.
That's really cool. So what brought you to Portland in the first place?
Yeah. I moved during COVID. I
Okay.
was in LA and I met a partner in Chicago. Moved to Chicago on a Friday. The world closed on Monday. And so I said, "Can we go back to the West Coast now that you don't have to work in your office anymore?"
Yeah,
And so we did. And so we tried a few different places and eventually we bought a house and we're very bought in here. I really love this city. It's smaller. I mean, I've lived in Houston and Los Angeles, so I've lived in the number 3 and number 2 market in the US. This is like I don't even know the number 18, like, everywhere is 10 minutes. There's a
yeah,
trees everywhere. Like, every 5 blocks, there's a park. It's a
so
different
true.
way of living. I traded an hour and a half in the car for about 15 minutes,
Oh,
and I live right in the
absolutely
middle of the
agree.
city, like, I'm not in the
Yeah,
suburbs.
yeah. Well, it's great to have you here in Portland. I'm curious if you're part of the entrepreneurial community. If you, like you mentioned, businesses are willing to collaborate more.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious if you can talk about specific businesses that you've collaborated with. I think you already mentioned the Rumple guys. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so, we're signing a deal now, so it depends on when this is gonna air. So I guess I could reserve the right to ask you to edit this if something
yeah,
happens. But we're doing a deep 360 partnership with Powell's, which makes perfect sense
fantastic.
for us. They, getting offline and reading. Altitude Beverages, also somebody who I know who I've gotten involved with. A local wine company. I'm working on something with Big Salt. I'm friends with the owners of that winery in Barnina. So we have a lot of great partnerships here. And then my business partner owns the Union Pine event space, and his wife owns West and Bar West, if you've ever
Oh,
heard of those
great.
restaurants. So we
Yeah.
have those partnerships built in, and then fun things like DIY bar, for instance, like a fun little space with two venue locations where we can test in Portland, not only driving people to purchase, but driving people to actual in-person activities, which is a huge lift for a young company. And I'm not taking it on in my like investor pitch, but I would like to see
Yeah.
if I can get you and I to go, and right now you can go on the app and you can earn drinks at Bar West. Like the two of us could go to Bar West and have a drink. Or maybe we could send you to a coffee shop, or we could send you to DIY bar and we could actually make
Yeah.
some art together. Driving in person is one of the massive goals of our long-term strategy. So we're testing that really locally in Portland.
Wow, that's fantastic. So Are there other apps that are out there that are doing this type of work to help people to get off of social media and live a mentally healthy lifestyle, I should say?
Yeah, it's a pretty limited market. So what we've seen more of is there's a really popular app called Sweatcoin,
Mhm.
which is exact same business model. Well, not exact same. There's a lot of differences, but the concept is for every step you take, you get a point, and that point
Yeah.
is good for money. Now, we did the opposite. We don't use points because we don't want to obfuscate the cost. We want you to know how much every second is costing you. So we're very different in most UX in that way. So that would be one example. There are a lot of apps. There's an app called Opal. It's really popular among screen time. Or there's like the Brick, which you could lock your phone out or whatever. I don't know if you've heard of the Brick, but it's like
Yeah, yeah,
a
I've totally heard
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are cool, and by the way, all of those just help you achieve points in Dayo, so by all means, download them, and use them in conjunction with Dayo, so I don't really view them as competitors. The less you're on your phone, the more you're gonna earn money on my profile, and then you will be able to check out more.
Right.
And then I've seen some fun little startups coming up, and I don't know how much traction they have, like, one of them where it actually can scan you, so you get logged out of social media, and you have to do, like, 10 push-ups and you
Mhm.
put your phone in front of you, and when you do the 10 push-ups, it'll let you back in. So I'm
Oh,
seeing
that's
some of
interesting.
those
Yeah.
novel approaches. I'm not sure how long those will really take effect, but nothing quite like this. Now we've seen some other apps launch recently. They're the opposite of this, including an app called Flip, which is I would call the most extractive version of what we're talking about. And basically, in their case, you buy something, or rather, you watch ads, and for
Mhm.
every ad you watch, you get points, you get money, and then you buy the product with the money, and then you make your own ad and get more money, and then you buy more things. It's a never-ending cycle of watching
Wow,
and
that's really
buying
interesting.
ads. So
Yeah.
it's a very cool idea, in my opinion, the exact opposite direction of where I'm trying to go. Like you're just
Right.
spending more time on your phone, you're watching more advertisements, it's all extractive, but it is a tool in which they have experimented with, earning money for doing an activity on an app as it relates to. I mean, they're really trying to become a social media company. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're replacing TikTok Shop or going after it, less of a limiting. So I think the other thing that's interesting is there's nothing new about this concept in many ways. Like we've rewarded people for years for behavior. In fact, there's a study, an NIH study recently, where they were paying meth addicts $30 for clean urine, and the results were 2x what therapy was delivering alone. So
Really?
it's just fascinating that and that's meth. So I think if we can get
Yeah.
people off meth, and now I don't know that it's a limited study, doesn't guarantee long term sobriety or anything like that. But people were showing up and giving them clean urine for $30. So people will be motivated by financial rewards. It's a pretty basic primal human feeling.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you launched, last summer, is that right?
We launched, an alpha, which we were testing and
Okay.
learning and understanding things, and that, is live in the App Store, but it's pretty limited and it's not really ready for prime time. So we had a few hundred users going through that, and we're going to launch April 1, our second phase, which I would call a true beta, but a real ready for prime time app, that will be launching very widely and we'll be getting, hopefully tens, if not hundreds of thousands of downloads. And from there, we'll be developing into new phases, which we could talk about if you want. Or yeah,
Yeah. Well, so you're taking it slow, careful,
yeah.
doing it right, and you have some great experience launching previous apps, right?
Well, mostly CPG companies.
Okay.
So this is my first app, actually. I've been
Okay.
CEO of multiple CMO, COO of multiple consumer products companies. And while this is an app, it's also a marketplace. Let's be honest. I mean, the
Right.
marketplace is a big piece of it. So marketplaces I have a great deal of experience with. And yeah, we bootstrapped the alpha ourselves. We self-funded it, and then we won a couple of awards. We won the Oregon Entrepreneur Network's Tech Award last year. We also won the Beaverton City Startup Challenge, which goes to the West Side Startup Incubator.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of awards, and that really helped us build towards our beta and have a little bit of money for our launch. We have a lot of exciting events. We have a huge launch party on April 11th. We're doing an event with Ron Wyden talking about not this, a separate event. We're doing another event with Ron Wyden talking about democracy and technology. We're doing scavenger hunts at Powell's March 7th and 8th with part of their big scavenger hunt. We're doing something at Chess Club. So we're just doing a lot of activations around town because I think when you sit there and tell people what it is, really that one-to-one interaction, people really get it. And so I want to just get a lot of feedback from the community. I just want a lot of people to tell me what they think, and then we can refine our message and go much wider,
That's
probably in the
fantastic.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole marketplace concept is really, really interesting because it pulls in a whole community of people, not just your individual end users, but all people in using these products and building a network with the larger community, the larger business community.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a way in which brands have yet to speak to their consumers. There's a couple people who've done things like Kit Kat has their take a break day, and they'll post it on social media. It makes perfect sense, right? Because give me a break, take a break from social media. Patagonia does their Black Friday and they
Mhm.
sell more product than when they're open, right? So this
Yeah.
counter programming, this recognition, I think brands would be smart to understand that consumers are there. They understand they're overwhelmed, they hate your ads, they don't want to click on them, they're struggling with it, you know what I mean? And so it's like, what
Yeah.
are you gonna do to reach this consumer? And are you going to acknowledge the pain point that is created by the ecosystem that you're participating in? I often like to think of it a little bit like oil companies, right? Oil companies are still gonna drill oil because realistically, we need oil. We're not oil free. We're not going to be oil free. It's absurd to think that we're gonna be oil free like tomorrow. Like we would need
Yeah.
I believe in being carbon free, believe me, but it's not possible. So, but they
Right.
would then start
Giving the
building.
given the current state of affairs, it's just not going to
Right.
happen tonight.
Not right now.
Yeah.
So, but and even if we started today, like let's say we were totally 100%, it would take decades, right? So just the realism of that. And then the same thing with social media. Like I don't think they're going to stop advertising on social media, but would they not build some credibility over here? Would an oil company not build some solar panels and some wind farms and start recognizing that part of their core business model is actually extractive and destructive to the consumer and trying to at least do something about it? Or are you gonna sit in a base? And I think right now, brands have not been held to task by consumers for the fact they participate in an extractive ecosystem. And I think that's going to end. I think if
Yeah.
brands do not begin to get ahead of this trend, you're already seeing, like, if you're advertising on Twitter, you're gonna be boycotted, et cetera. But I think the grossness of the endless ad scroll is going to eventually sour your customer to your own brand experience. And if you don't address that coming, in my opinion, ad apocalypse, I think you're gonna be
Mhm.
behind the curve. So where are you gonna get
Absolutely.
consumers? Alternate channels, specific things. That's why you're seeing all these integrations. I mean, I don't even agree with all these things, but integrations with like, Logan Paul and fighting, like, podcasting. Like, where are we going? We're getting all
Yeah.
these things. It doesn't matter who your demo is, they're out there and you have to find them. It's harder. Meta used to offer this really great solution, but I don't think that you're going to get the same response you were getting before.
Right, right, which is a shame. I mean, for a brief moment in time, it seemed like we had the possibility of a better social media world. And then that moment went away.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, social media, people hate it. People are never gonna stop using it, but if you poll them, they hate it. Like, it is
Yeah.
underwater in their likes of it. Gen Z is the first generation that you can see an actual downtick in social media use, and if you're looking at those charts and you're Meta, you should be concerned. Now, the boomers, they're all bought in, they're not leaving. Gen X,
Yeah.
we've got our own problems, but Gen Z, I mean, aside from TikTok, they're leaving. They're not on Instagram, they're not on Facebook. Those platforms are dying. Let's face it, they're geriatric. And so what's gonna be the new growth? Okay, they bought Snap, that's interesting. There's going to be new apps coming up. I think you're gonna see, we're already seeing with Blue Sky, a desire to have these non-horrible, run by Nazi extractive, social
Right.
media profiles. And so you're seeing 30 million users in 3 months, like, that's a backlash. Twitter's down 46%, Meta's down. Like, we're seeing it. So I think it would be naive to assume it's not going to continue down this road. And the reality is, here's the thing: social media doesn't have to be awful. Why is it
Mhm.
awful? It could be amazing. It was great. People that love Blue Sky say, "Oh," and I say this too, it feels like old Twitter. But Twitter's, as Kara Swisher calls it, a Nazi porn bar now. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, and there's nothing. I wouldn't even go on there. I don't have an account there. That's
Right.
gross. So, but it doesn't have to be. And I think we're going to see some people trying to build these, less extractive, less, maybe actually more consumer focused. Let's be honest. They just aren't consumer focused. They're
Mhm.
advertising companies that you happen to participate in. And so hopefully we'll build some more interesting ways to interact, but I haven't seen anyone reinvent social media in a way that solves these particular problems yet. But the reality is, I always say, like, the algorithm can be programmed any way you want it. It could be programmed for the advertisers, or it could be programmed for the consumers. It's just not programmed for consumers right now.
Got it. Well, it sounds like a really exciting opportunity. If you could share with us briefly, what did the OEN recognition mean for you and your company?
It was great, actually. I think it gave us some credibility. I mean, this is a wild idea.
Yeah.
And also, I want to say in particular to Portland, I think that Portland is a very conservative and
Hmm.
SaaS focused as tech is involved kind of place. So I was like, I don't even know if we have a shot because everyone who applies, they love the big ideas and then they go with the really nothing wrong with it, but like a nice little SaaS play, like, oh, we're going to
Right.
use AI
A safe play.
to
Yeah.
change, HR. We're going to use AI to change the way we onboard vendors. Like these are great companies, and they're
Yeah.
probably much less likely to fail in some ways than like the wild startups. But one of the great things that Kara Toronto said to me, she's like, "Look, we decided if we were going to make Portland what we want it to be, we're going to have to bet on some big ideas and not just some
Mhm.
singles and doubles." And so I think that was huge for us. It was a huge unlock to the Portland community because I think it's hard to raise money here. And then ultimately, like, we could have continued funding this probably, but, like, it would have been really hard for us to do the things we did without that money. And in general, momentum is momentum. That first check, that first yes, that first, thumbs up is
Yeah.
huge. You can never
Yeah. It
undercount
makes a difference.
that. Yeah, so I'm incredibly grateful to them. They are wonderful people. They really did their due diligence. John over there who put the fund together, like, was using it constantly and just had constant feedback for us about what was working. I mean, he was one of our clear alpha users. And
Mhm.
so if you have an investor that's that engaged, you just have a really great relationship.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. So, you are currently out there building the larger marketplace. You'll be having more of a public launch, it sounds like.
April, you'll
S
be hearing from us.
Fantastic. Well, we'll probably make this live in April then, so we can really
Great.
feature your app. Thank you for your time today, Corey. I do have one last question for you,
Yes, sir.
which is, what do you dare to dream?
What do I dare to dream? What a great question. The way I've approached this app or this business, unlike any other business, and I build all my businesses with models and financial projections and everything, but I really just wanted to attract rather than promote. Like, could we build an idea that actually people wanted to join, that wanted to come to? So my dream is that it feels fun. And I don't want to say easy in the context of like it's never easy running a business. But easy does it in the context of like, oh yeah, we've aligned what people want with what we're offering so that it flows nicely. And we'll deal with all the financials and all the business and all that. But like, does it fit into your life? And my dream is that I've created something that works in that way, that I can actually just flow into people's lives and be a part of leading a movement against this techno oligarchy and offering people an alternative, a way out from a brain that's just been hijacked.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time
Thank
and
you, Ned.
good luck with Dayo.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Thanks to our guests today for their insights into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We wish you all the best in your startup journey. The Dare Show is brought to you by the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network and by Darwaf, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. Visit us at oen.org or at darwaf.io. Thanks again for listening. Till next time.